Well, hi there, I'm Diane Gilliland, and I'm here to show you a really fun product from Clover Needlecraft. It's called the Kanzashi Maker, and it's a plastic template that makes beautiful dimensional fabric flowers like you see here. The Kanzashi Maker templates come in two styles, and there's a smaller and a larger version of each style. In terms of materials, you're going to need some fabric. And for your first kanzashi, I recommend starting with a nice quilting cotton. You're going to need some scissors, a sewing needle, and some nice strong thread. So you'll start by threading your needle with a good long length of thread. I like to use between 24 and 36 inches. And you'll want to tie a good sized knot in the end. So next you're going to want to take your fabric and give it a fold. So I have my fabric folded on the bias with the right side of the print facing out, and then I'm just going to take my Kanzashi template and I'll slide the fabric into it, and I'll match the fold of the template to the fold of the fabric. And then all I do is just snap the template closed, like that. Then I'll take my scissors and I'll just cut around the edge of the template. You just want to cut the fabric to maybe 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Now, this is a little hard to show on camera, but embossed into this template you have a whole series of numbers, and these are in fact your guide for stitching. So you'll take your needle and thread, you will look for hole number 1 in the template, and conveniently you'll see the word start right next to it, and you take your needle down through the fabric at that point. Then you look for hole number 2 and you bring the needle up at that point. And then, as you might guess, you go down at number 3, up at number 4, down at 5, and so on and so on. So when you bring the needle up at hole number 8, then you just set that down, leave the thread attached, and then we'll open up the template. Now we have this piece of fabric with these carefully placed stitches in it. All we have to do is hold the fabric here by the folded edge and gently pull the thread, and we end up with our petal. Then you can just set that down. What we'll do then is we'll take our next square of fabric, fold it, put the template on it like we did before, and just repeat that process to stitch it again. We'll just keep adding petals until we have all we need to complete this flower. Okay, so at this point I have strung 6 petals to this flower. And you know, a flower can have any number of petals that you choose for it. Anywhere between 6 and 10 is usually very pretty. To finish this off, however, I want to be able to tie the ends of the thread into a knot. And so in order to do that, I need to back all these petals up along the thread a little bit. So I'm just going to take the knot at the end and I'm going to gently slide all of these petals back up the thread a bit so that I have a good, say, 6 inches of thread coming out of each side. And now I have 2 ends of thread to work with, and I'm going to tie what's called a surgeon's knot. So if you've ever tied your shoes, you've done most of a surgeon's knot. It just starts with the same little overhand knot that you do when you're going to tie shoes, and then all you do is put the strand back through the loop again. So I take this thread and I tie the ends into a surgeon's knot, and then I pull the ends of the thread together, and as you can see, it turns that string of petals into a nice rounded flower. The surgeon's knot prevents the thread from pulling itself loose again, and I just do this little process of pulling the thread and adjusting the petals. When I have everything just the way I like it, then I'll tie the ends of the thread in a second knot, which will kind of lock this flower in place. And then all I have to do is pull the ends of the thread in toward the center of the flower and cut them off. So I like to do 2 finishing steps with my flower. First, I'll turn it over and I'll cut myself a little circle of the same fabric, and I'll just glue that over the center opening here in the back. And then of course on the front I will add a nice button center, and again you can glue that. And there is your finished Orchid Kanzashi. Now, once you've mastered the basic flower construction, you can really do all kinds of fun variations on that theme. First of all, each of these 2 petal styles looks beautiful with either side facing up, so you actually get double the looks with each style. You can mix and match the larger and smaller versions of these petals to get really interesting flower shapes. And the large and small flowers stack together beautifully as well. So you really have a lot of fun stuff to play with here. So, happy flower making!